What up, Bulls Nation? Peck here. We got a live CHGO Bulls pod for y'all right around the corner. On today's show, we are talking the new NBA All-Star format that just got announced earlier today. Kevin Durant's not a big fan of it. Should we be? Plus, GOAT, Vooch, X's, O's, breakdown, full on, coming up next. Let's go. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome in to the CHGO Bulls Podcast. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. That is Big Dave. Bam! BAWL Sports. That's Will the Goat, perfectly coiffed Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. The queen on the controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. What's up, kid? Hey!
Hello.
Great.
Sometimes you toss to me, and sometimes it's just like, oh, what's up, Katie? All right. So, I never know.
So be ready for everything.
On your toes.
Yeah.
Love the MJ sweatshirt.
It is amazing.
Thank you.
Is that vintage?
Thank you. No, I bought it on Etsy.
Okay.
For those
Etsy is lovely.
On the audio platform, which is all platforms, it's just the moment where MJ holds up four fingers, and he's got a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah, it has to be four because that was when they only won two at home. So
so in '93 they won Game 6 in Phoenix.
Yes, so that's definitely
that is for Father's Day '96 title that they won at home.
Absolutely,
that's a good one.
It is.
Okay, before we get to the new All-Star format stuff, let's not bury the lead. We gave y'all a teaser of this last week. Goat and Vooch breaking down plays together earlier this past week. We showed you one of them. Now we're going to show you the whole thing. We'll talk about it after the fact. This is going to be Vooch and Goat breaking down, 6 or 7 different plays?
Yeah.
Boom. Yep. Enjoy. Katie.
Will Gottlieb here with CHGO and Nikola Vucevic, two-time All-Star, maybe an All-Star again. I was asking you earlier this year, is this the best you've ever played?
Yeah, it's up there. I think, obviously had some very good years in Orlando. Both times I made All-Star. Even year in between, but I missed a month or so I didn't make it. But yeah, it's up there for sure. But definitely my best stretch here so far, so hopefully it continues.
I think so too, and today we are going to look at some clips that I picked out and just have you walk me through what you're doing, what the reads are, and just kind of explain what it is that you're doing that's allowing you to play so well. So we'll start with this one. I think pretty simple stuff here, but basically looking at the pace that you guys are playing with, right? And so Giddy's getting it up the court here, and I think you guys do a really good job of getting into the paint with 4 or 5 seconds off the shot clock. And he dives in and finds you here. But as you're trailing this play, can you kind of just talk me through what your reads are, how you're reading, how Nick Claxton here is defending you?
Yeah, that one I'm kind of first reading what Josh is thinking of doing and then looking at Claxton. But kind of see if Josh is looking maybe to drive at Julian or maybe going, driving himself. And then once I see that he's kind of driving to create something, I'm looking at where Claxton goes. Obviously, he goes with him, which opens up the trail 3 for me, which is one of my favorite shots. So just kind of reading, playing off the ball, seeing kind of what they do. And then after that, obviously saw that Claxton was really deep. And then once I caught it, he didn't close out really hard. So I knew I had the shot. So pretty.
Are you looking at his feet specifically, where on the court, if he's below the free throw line?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he, obviously that's the easy one because he's very deep in the paint. Maybe if he had started to really close out at me hard, maybe I can drive him. But that one, he kind of, he went with Josh. Josh did a good job dragging 2 and made a good pass, and so it was an easy one for me.
Do you know what you're shooting on trail 3s this year?
No, but I don't like knowing.
You would or you don't?
I don't. I don't even ever look at my percentage.
I won't tell you then, but it's good. Let's look at this next play, which you were just describing. Similar thing, but just how is the way that you're shooting opening up so many of these driving lanes and kind of making life easy for you?
Yeah, so for bigs, you don't, you always, if it's a shooting big, you always worry about that. It's very difficult to guard for us to be in the paint and having to come out, to close out on the three, especially if it's a guy that can put on the floor and drive. So you have to do it all, which makes it very difficult for us to have to move our feet and react that quickly. Decided to drive. He kind of, he didn't want to really foul, so I was able to get by him. It was towards the end of the game. We were big, so I think that affected too a little bit. But I think I definitely, I had a lot of time to shoot it. Was probably the better decision. I was able to drive as well, go by him, because he kind of didn't want to foul and kind of moved a little bit. But I think ended up working out. But I think looking back at it, I should have probably shot it. Probably would have been a better decision.
Well, you get the easy two there, and obviously this was the in-season tournament game, so you get to run up the score a little bit too.
Yeah,
next one, this is more just kind of into your early offense. Obviously, the trail three is not there for you, and so you flow into this DHO action with Zach. Walk me through what you're kind of looking at here and what that read is.
So it's part of our action. Kind of that one, he kind of crosses and kind of flips it back to me. So I look at the shot first. Klassen was kind of there, so I'm looking to create something else for somebody. In this instance, it's Zach in the empty side, which usually is a pretty good play for us.
Yeah.
When he comes off, if his guy goes under, he can step behind the screen, shoot it. If his guy, trails, then he's really good at driving to the paint, and then I kind of pop either to mid-range or three. He drags both my guy and his guy, gets me the open shot. That one, I kind of roll, pop in a weird area, so he makes a good pass. I'm able to make a pretty tough shot, but the better play would have been me maybe stretch out a little more, and maybe Zach try to take it a little more.
Get out to the corner.
Yeah, but the guy shorter helped a little bit, so he made him pick up the ball. Mm-hmm. It worked out. If I pop a little more, it's probably more space for me. I can probably get a three, or I can drive, attack. It's like there's not as much separation between me and Zach and my guy.
Yeah, and he kind of passes a little bit early too.
Yeah, maybe, but that's because Schroeder is there, so
right.
It's tough for him to pick it up. So I think I need to take a little step more towards the outside, create more space, and then it would make my guy have to make a decision. Does he come with me, or does he stay with Zach? There he can kind of stay in between. Again, it works out, but I could have executed a little better.
I like the little Dirk fade though. It's working this year for you. I won't tell you what you're shooting on those either. This was another one from the Sixers game. I think it was your last game, and a similar action, getting reversed to the opposite side, and you get this down screen from Mattis. I believe this is a zoom action, and Zach comes off, and the help is just really focused on him, and that gives the runway for Mattis. What's kind of the read here?
Yeah, so that's one of our we run that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. When I get the ball at the top and go into a weak side action, in this case it's a handoff, and so I'm bringing the ball and trying to read what they do. Whatever Mattis and Zach gonna do. Does Mattis screen for him? Does Zach screen for Mattis in the back screen? And Mattis back cuts and Zach comes off. Does Zach's guy trail him? Does he kind of shoot the gap? Depends on what the defense does. Then I make my read. In this instance, obviously both went with Zach, so it was pretty easy play to. And Mattis did a good job slipping it out, and Zach got both guys go with him, so it was easy play for me to make to Mattis. But just kind of reading what they do, what defense does, what they do, and then make a read off of that.
It speaks to how well Zach's playing and shooting.
For sure, yeah.
Defense has to really
he's aggressive and he's making shots like that. It opens up so much for everybody.
Next one here. This is just more in the half court. Obviously, it's a drag screen for Ayo, who's having a really good year, but the floater is working for you really well this year. I think Ayo's taken a big step forward in terms of his ability to change speeds in the paint. So I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about him and your kind of partnership with him in the pick and roll.
Yeah, I like playing with Ayo a lot. He's great at getting downhill, creating separation, getting the big to have to make a decision. Does he stay with me? Does he go with him? And it's tough when you have a guy that's so quick like Ayo is and is able to finish at the paint. It's tough on defense. What would we do? And if I'm able to hit his guy a little bit and he creates a little separation at the initial point of action, the screen, I get Hauser just a little bit here, makes him trail. Mm-hmm. So now Ayo has room to attack and go at the big, and it's tough then for
tough spot for Horford.
It's tough for us bigs to do that. So Ayo's very good also once he gets downhill, to a little drop pass, and obviously we play a lot together, so we have a really good feel. He just got downhill. I was trying to play off him. He went up like he was gonna finish, dropped it off late. But I always expect those, with Ayo.
Got to be ready for those.
Yeah, so it's but it just comes from the partnership playing together so much. You get that feel.
Next one. This one is just middle pick and roll. Zach coming over screen here to the middle, and just a nice read there that gets the ball moving. And you guys have done a really good job of, just keeping the advantage alive and really, finding the best shot, not just the next shot. But just again, kind of walk me through what the read is here and how you're seeing the low man slide over, and kind of what your read is to decide, is this a pass or is this a floater?
Yeah, so in the pocket, when I roll, kind of it's more of a short roll a little bit. But when I catch it, just kind of look at where the defense is. Obviously Matherin comes in pretty early. I see Lonzo. This guy didn't really drop all the way, so I see Lonzo wide open. Obviously the corner three is one of the best shots you can get. Just really reading the defense. If he came maybe later, maybe I shoot the floater, maybe I try to go. If he had dropped, then probably try to hit Ayo. But he kind of got caught in between. Didn't make that. Didn't take that step towards Lonzo early, so Lonzo was wide open, and I was able to see it as I come out the roll. And
that's a tough spot. He's got to zone up and kind of guard both of these
guys.
It's
tough with all the spacing now. You got 4 people out. It's so much space. It's tough to cover it all. And so once you get the ball in there, whether it's drive, whether it's a pocket, that's why everybody is always trying to say, play inside out. That's the way to do it. You get the ball in. Somebody has to help. You get 2 to the ball. Now you have an advantage somewhere. It's just about finding it.
Yep. And, this year you guys aren't offensive rebounding quite as much as last year, but you get a nice tip in here. How do you decide, should I stay in or do I need to get back and be in transition defense?
Well, it depends on my positioning on the floor. If I'm kind of hanging in the paint, hanging around the paint on the shot, definitely you got to go. I think there's more opportunities for me to go and be a little more aggressive on the glass. If I'm there, if I'm in the corner, kind of above under the break, closer to the basket, and probably go if I'm above the break, or from Ayo and then any of that space above it, probably run back.
Time to get back.
Because it's very hard to get those, and if you get caught running at the rim and the ball bounces over you, then it's transition, and it's a tough spot for us. So in this instance, I'm in the paint, obviously,
and you got
I have a smaller on me,
right.
So definitely got to go on that one, especially scoring, in time of the game.
Defenses are starting to adjust to the way that they guard you. In these last couple games, I think they've been putting a lot more pressure on you, not letting you have those trail threes. And then this last one, this was against the 76ers too, and it's just an example of something they were doing all game long, which was this veer switch, which basically, you can describe it better than I can, but kind of what is Kelly Oubre doing here, and how does it impact your ability to get open?
Yeah, so they sometimes they'll switch early, sometimes they'll switch if a guy takes, if the big gets dragged out. It's something we do as well. So it all, on that action, I should have gone to the weak side right away, and then probably allow Matas to go back to Zach or Kobe to go back to Zach and play, put Embiid in like a small pick and roll. Or I can dive, and then they can try to hit me in the post.
So that was kind of my next question. Is
I went there, but then he did a good job kind of taking it away. I probably maybe could have had position better. But it's, the tricky thing with that is we don't want to get caught staring at me, looking at me, because then it allows the defense to come back, in
box
there,
you down.
And then also from the weak side and, take away the over the top or anything, but also it slows down our offense. So if it's there right away, if I get the guy, for a sec on my back and they can hit me right away, obviously something we look at, and then we play out of it if I can score, if they collapse and I can kick it out. But, obviously it wasn't there, so, Matas is a good, Matas does a good job going back to Kobe, and then he makes a good job driving and then getting Zach a really good open shot. So it's just, when I get a small on me, we actually worked on it the past couple of days, just me diving, putting pressure at the rim, either I seal the guy, get the ball, or maybe, I drag 2 with me if it's a really small guy and this doesn't help. Then it opens up something on the weak side. So
you've got 2 guys with mismatches, right? So you try to find one quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So you always want to try to attack them. So there, it's not there really for a sec. Matas gets off of it, which is good decision. Then Kobe attacks, makes Embiid come down. Because as a big, you always taught
try to get towards
just
the
get to
rim.
the paint. And even though for years now they've been saying don't do it because it's kind of been engraved in you since you're little. The big man paint, and so it kind of just naturally you go to it. So what she does there. Gets Zach wide open. So even sometimes, when I get a small on me in a switch, it doesn't have to be always for me to get the ball. It can actually be a great opportunity for one of our guards to attack their 5 or something. So it all depends, what we get. But again, it's just about us not not staring at one specific thing, either Mata's not staring at me or Zach not getting it and just holding it. It's attacking and creating the next action, which Kobe does a really good job. Gets Zach a wide open 3. It was a good play for us.
Awesome. Well, this was great, Vooch. I really appreciate it. Like I said,
hopefully I sounded
playing
smart.
like an all-star. Definitely sounded smart, helping us and everybody else get smarter too. So
that was awesome. So very cool. Shout out to Elliot in the comments who said, love those play breakdowns with the actual player changes from that ESPN bullshit. Very, very cool stuff. Hope y'all enjoyed that. We got to take our first quick break. When we come back on the other side, we are going to talk a little bit more about what we heard from Vooch in that conversation with Goat, breaking down some of those plays. That's next. Hit the like. Stay tuned. Today's show brought to you by Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Our friends at Sunnyside are here to help elevate your winter. Might be getting colder, might be getting darker. Sunnyside's here for you. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They've got a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from. Easy online ordering and in-store pickup. So stop in the store nearest you throughout Illinois for expert guidance from their staff and select from quality lines like Cresco and FloraCal. And now, running through the end of the year, December 31st, Sunnyside's Scratch and Stash is back again this holiday season. Receive a scratch-off card every single time you shop at Sunnyside, now through December 31st. Here's the kicker. Every single Scratch and Stash card is a winner. You could win big, like 50% off, or $100 off your next purchase. Every single time you scratch, you win something. So hurry in and see what you win. And check this out. The fine folks at Sunnyside were actually kind enough to stop by and leave us some Scratch and Stashes at the office. Here's one that Herb just did earlier today on the White Sox show. $15 off a $150 or more order. I got one right here. Oh, Dave, you got some too?
I got some in my pocket.
Well, I got a quarter of a pocket. I'm gonna scratch this off right now and see what we got.
I don't, unfortunately.
God, I love scratch offs. So much fun to win.
What you got?
Buy two, get one for $10 on Cresco. On Cresco 8s.
Oh, not bad.
Boom.
Not bad.
Look at that.
Doing over here. Scratch that on off.
Deals on deals.
How about an extra 5% off on my order right there? I will take that, ladies and gentlemen. That is all right. Every single time, Matt Peck.
Take it every time. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Ooh. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. And again, don't forget, Sunnyside Scratch and Stash through the end of the year. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 and over, and Illinois Med card holders.
I got to buy one, get one for $5 on the Cresco Labs.
Boom, boom.
Shout out to me. But I want to talk about ComEd.
Oh, please do.
Oh, ComEd, Matt Peck.
I love ComEd.
Yes. Because Matt, ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient.
I did not know that.
Yeah. The energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
Just shattered my mind into a million pieces. Face melted off. So let me ask you this, Dave. Mm-hmm. What do businesses have to do to take advantage of these great savings?
You just sign up for a free facility assessment at ComEd.com/BIZ.
Spit take? That's so easy. I don't get it. Why are more businesses doing this, Dave?
I don't know, man. Maybe they forgot the website?
They forgot the website? Go, you remember the website, right?
Guys, chill. It's ComEd.com/biz.
Wait, what you say?
That's all it is. ComEd.com/biz.
Wait, one more time.
ComEd.com/biz.
It's right there.
It's right there. ComEd.com/biz.
It's so simple. It's right there. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy and usage rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
State law.
And how do you reach those?
The draw.
That high pitch.
It's the natural gifts, brother. You know what I mean?
Very,
that's all it is.
Very impressive stuff.
I can't take any credit for
I don't think I could get up there.
Just what I've been blessed with. You do your best with what you've been given.
Big Dave can go upstairs.
And you know who else can go upstairs? That's Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
Because we enjoyed watching him do that. Over his career, we have watched him do that. But now it is our time to honor him on January 4th. Bulls versus Knicks. That means Teals will be in the house. It is Derrick Rose night. That means it is the official CHGO Bulls sweet takeover. You heard it. Sweet takeover. Ooh, I felt that in my bones.
Yeah, I felt it too.
Yeah, that felt good, man. Top shelf sweet takeover, ladies and gentlemen, on Derrick Rose night. What do you get? All you can eat. Anything else? All you can drink. And of course, that dessert card. Yes, yes, yes. You get that. Will Purdue is going to be in the building. He'll be up there. Katie's going to be in the building. She'll be up there. And we will be in the building. Come hang out with us, man. You get all what
about the gift basket?
And that's what I was getting to. And that swag bag.
Swag bag.
The bag. Thank you, Matt. 2 times. Matty twice. Swag bag. Hoodie in there. D Rose hoodie. It's really, really dope. Really, really awesome. You're going to get it just for showing up and being cool and a bunch of other cool stuff in your swag bag just for you. You want to save some money on it? Of course you do. How about all you got to do is become a diehard, which is basically pennies a day out here. And when you do that, you will save $100 on this, man. You will save $100 off of this. So you have no excuse. Put together your finest linens, get whoever you want to come through with you, and come hang out with us and celebrate the legend himself who deserves a night like this, Derrick Rose. Come watch it with us, y'all. January 4th, sweet takeover, CHGO Bulls. Make sure you go to allchgo.com.
Do it.
And do it.
Do it.
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. I like that Heath in the comments asked, what do we need to do to win a championship? Julie said, maybe the real championship was the friends we made in the chat.
She's been hanging with Cody.
Love the positivity. Yeah, you've been hanging out with our buddy Cody from CHGO Cubs. It's always the friends we made along the way.
Always the friends.
That's always the answer.
How many of us?
I would actually like a real championship.
It'd be nice.
At some point.
Be
One
nice.
of those things
one
over
of those
there.
things, but bigger would be cool.
I'm
just crazy, but you know.
I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out.
But hope you all enjoyed that breakdown with Vooch. Go, watching you guys talk through some of those, it really kind of opens your eyes a bit more. If you're just a fan who just watches a lot of basketball, but it just sort of doesn't necessarily think about the nitty-gritty of each split-second decision that the players are making on the court, when you go through and kind of analyze the film the way that the players and coaches do themselves after every game, in between games, you kind of get an idea of how much like 4D chess is being played on the court like all the time.
I think how quickly they're making decisions is really what stands out to me. Like on that first play where, I asked him, how do you decide if you are going to shoot this or attack the closeout and get to the basket? On that pull-up 3, Nick Claxton was guarding him like a foot past the free throw line. Mm-hmm. And he's like a 7-footer. He's got a really long wingspan. And he's like, oh yeah, there's plenty of space. Like I had that shot wide open all day. Like that's crazy. Like yeah. I would have such a hard, and obviously that's what happens when you're, multi-time all-star who reads the game at a very high level, one of the smarter big men in the league, to be able to make those decisions. I think that's the kind of thing that you can take for granted as a fan who just doesn't really understand how quickly the game is moving and how many different reads you're required to make at that level. And so just kind of hearing like what is actually a lot of space and what is not, that was something that really stood out for me. And then I think with that, you kind of get a better understanding of just like, we've talked a lot, or not we have, but like the discourse around the NBA right now is like, oh, is the game ruined by shooting too many threes? Everybody's shot chart looks the same. There's not any like diversity in how teams are scoring. But when you really dig into it with a player, they can like tell you how much space they have to cover on the defensive end, how much stress that a really good pass from, a short roll on the left slot to the opposite side corner can stress a defense. And if they're not in the right position, how a team like the Bulls could take advantage of that with extra ball movement, shooting, and then offensive rebounding. So just kind of getting a sense of like, I can pick out some of this stuff and say like, oh, this makes sense here, but to hear kind of from the horse's mouth of like, here are the decisions that I have to process in a split second to be able to read what the defense is doing, manipulate them, and make the right play that can then get to the right shot for us. That's a really hard thing to do. Yeah. And we're watching it, in 10% speed, 20% speed, and they're doing it in real time with real 7 feet long people coming at them at full speed. So it's just really impressive to kind of see how he's processing things so quickly. And that's what happens when you've been in the league for as long as he has and play in that role. Like, but it's just impressive that he and anybody else is able to do that.
Yeah, couple things for you. One, the reason I really like watching that stuff is I love the detail of the game of basketball. It's one of my favorite things. And you guys are going over that. I get to sit and look at a player maybe differently than I might have seen him before just because I'm looking at the details of things. In general, I've watched a lot of Vooch tape because we used to break down this stuff in the summer as well with Vooch. And just seeing this, though, it reinforced like, oh, man, because I was just sitting here saying like, oh, man, he has great hands. Like, you forget how good his hands are for a dude his size. Like, you never see him fumble a basketball. You know, as soon as you give it to him, it's up.
And that one play, that whip pass out to the corner,
special.
Gorgeous.
You know what I mean? And he could do it with either the right or left or overhead like he likes to do as well. His footwork, looking at some of his shots, the Dirk shot that he took, just the footwork on that to even get that space. You know what I mean? Like, it's really brilliant to watch his brain work and do those things like that. My question to you is, watching that and doing this with Vooch, is there anything you came away with that you didn't know about Vooch after doing this? Whether it was IQ-wise or even if it was personality-wise, did you come away with any different thought of Vooch, or did he just kind of reinforce what you already believed?
I think it was more kind of reinforcing what I already believed about him because, like, we've always talked about, like, yeah, maybe like the last couple of years the shooting hasn't been there, but like the ability to keep the ball moving side to side, the IQ, all that stuff has really always stood out to me. And so to actually hear how he's making those decisions in real time, I thought was the most interesting piece. But then you also factor in like the why of how they're getting those shots. Like, why are they going towards this shot in this action? Why is it so important for the Bulls to put pressure on the rim in transition or after made baskets for Giddey, for Ayo, for Kobe to get up the court and put pressure on the rim? And so, you know, how does that open up the game for a guy like Vooch for his shooting and then for his driving game? And so kind of understanding why the Bulls are trying to do certain things, why teams are trying to take that away or how they're trying to take that away, and then how the Bulls are trying to react to that. I thought that was really interesting, but I think it just gives you a greater appreciation for the fact that, like, this is not just like pick up basketball at the highest level. You know, like there's real thought and intention going into every single thing that goes on. And there's like a structure of, if this happens to me and I've got the ball in this situation and the defense is guarding me this way, here are my 1, 2, 3 reads that I can go to in order to keep the advantage alive. And so I think when you think about how drastically different the Bulls offense is this year than it has been in years past, to understand why they're doing some of those things, what they need to do in order to benefit from that, and then how it benefits them.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of like the most enlightening piece there.
The other thing that I liked, and you know, you saw it in one of the dribble handoffs he was running with Zach that you guys were breaking down, and then that little right side pick and roll he did with Ayo when Ayo collapses the defense in the paint and just shovels off this cute little no-look pass to Vooch for an easy, lay-in at the bucket. I think one of the things that might be underappreciated about what Vooch is doing, as we talk about the efficiency of his numbers. Yeah. He's also doing it in an offense that has skyrocketed in its pace of play compared to his first 3 seasons here. Okay. And it's one thing to go through some of those half-court sets, whether they be pick and rolls, DHOs, whatever, if it is at the plotting DeMar DeRozan-esque pace that it had been. But for a center of Vooch's age to be able to play and run up and down so that he can capitalize off of, like he said, love playing with Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu's a young buck who loves to run. Yeah. I think it's impressive. And, even when you're watching those plays in slow motion, you have to kind of realize that, as you were saying, this stuff is happening at 100% speed all the time. And it is way more. 100% speed for the Bulls this year is significantly higher than it had been since he arrived. And Vooch is not only keeping up at this higher pace, he's thriving in it.
And I think that's another really underrated element of his success this year is just like, yeah, the shooting part was a bit of a struggle the last couple of years, but like he was still super productive. And now you completely revamp the offense and he's still being productive and he's been even more productive. And so that kind of tells you how versatile he is as a 5, the kind of array of skills that he has that allows him to fit into different styles. And just everything that he's doing, whether it's like actually putting the ball in the basket or just helping the Bulls continue to stay ahead of the defense, all those things that he's doing that contribute to the Bulls' success there. I think a lot of that can either go unnoticed or just underappreciated when it's happening in real time, in real speed.
So cool.
Very
Really cool stuff.
man.
Hopefully you get an opportunity to
And
do this again.
Yes,
With
seriously.
Vooch or another player.
Yeah, I said this as we talked about it last week, but like this is something that typically like we get 4 or 5 minutes with players. Like for him to sit down for 15 minutes, and I even clipped some of this stuff out because we just had so much and I wanted to keep it relatively concise. Like just incredibly grateful and cool thing for him to do, to sit down with me, and a huge shout out to both him and Bulls PR for kind of helping make this happen, because this is like not something that most teams are. You're not getting this kind of access with if you're a fan of another team. Like this is just not a kind of thing that everybody gets to see. So this was really cool opportunity for me, obviously, but also for all of you guys to really get kind of a deeper insight into the skill and the smarts and the work and film and all that stuff that these guys are doing on a daily basis.
Right. As Elliot said in the comments earlier, you don't get this kind of stuff on the regular, slated content from, the more major NBA partnered broadcast, and content wise, ESPN or whoever it might be. You get Kenny and his big jumbotron at halftime of the TNT doubleheaders and stuff like that.
The jumbotron.
But as far as local markets, this is cool that you were able to do this.
Very
Hopefully we can
cool,
see
man.
some more of it in the future. We got to take another break here.
Very
When we come
cool,
back
bro.
on the other side,
Well done, sir.
Vooch might have a dark horse shot at an all-star. There's a new format this year for voting and for what these teams and the games are going to look like. We're going to talk about that next on CHGO Bulls. Hit the like. Here's some ads.
Here's some ads. We're sponsored by Chicago Sports Network, ladies and gentlemen. The new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They are Chicago-based, they are Chicago-built, and they are Chicago to the bone. And they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our beautiful 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long. And after you watch those games, tune into the post-game shows for all three of those teams right here on CHGO.
Today's show also brought to you by Ray CDJR.
And Ray.
For the best way to end your 2024, head to Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and shop the wrap-up year-end sales event to score some of the year's best savings on new vehicles. Before the clock strikes 2025, hurry in to Ray CDJR to browse their huge inventory of new vehicles. Right now, celebrate the end of 2024 with $24,000 off MSRP on select new vehicles with a dealer discount. And or shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000.
Not bad.
Let the amazing team at Ray CDJR help you during each step of your car shopping journey. With Ray's Price Promise, the numbers you're hearing right now are the same prices you can expect to shop in-store and online. That's because Ray's Price Promise means no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees, never once. Since they prioritize affordability for their customers, hurry in Ray CDJR today. Shop one of the Chicago area's largest inventories. Then drive home with more money in your pocket than you'd expect. So if you're in the market for a new vehicle, you've got to check out the team at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. They are the only team that we recommend. Visit them today on Route 12 in Fox Lake. For more information, visit Ray CDJR in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. Serving the community since 1963. Rolling along on CHGO Bulls Pod. Speaking of community, I'm going to be hanging out with that diehard community later on tonight in that diehard Discord. 8 p.m. Central, whatever's on your mind, whatever's worrying your Bulls brain. I have lots of those worries, obviously. Let's talk about them together. We're going to be watching NBA Cup, by the way, 7:30 p.m. tip-off Central Time. I just saw on Twitter while Dave was reading his ad, Giannis and Dame walking in for that Cup championship.
Yeah.
Who you got? Bucks? Thunder? Thunderbucks.
I'm going to take the easy answers to Thunder. I'm going to say the Bucks.
I like it.
Goat?
I'm going with the Thunder.
I'm also going Thunder. Caruso, get yourself that $500,000.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. I really want Caruso to get that. Yeah. I'm still standing on what I said. But
Katie,
I do want
who you
Caruso
going
to
with?
get that.
I'm going with the Thunder as well. I
Mhm.
think they're hungrier. I know the
It
Bucks.
makes sense.
The
Bucks are on
Arr.
fire though. They might be the hottest team in
I
basketball.
mean,
right
they
now.
They're
are.
up there, man.
They're on a tear.
But
They're
that
on a
defense,
tear.
man, that OKC has. I mean, the way they clamp down on those Rockets, who are another great defense.
No defense for Giannis though.
But man, dude, you're right. There is no defense for Giannis. Fouls. 6 of them things.
How many free throws does Giannis take tonight?
All of them.
How many does he make tonight? Half of them. Hey, shout out to our guy Prison Mike who throws a super chat saying,
What
here's
up,
a
Prison
super
Mike?
chat to share my utter joy about last night's 1-point win versus the Craptors and sitting in the play-in because I missed last night's show. ... Yay.
Yay.
Craptors. I don't know if
Craptors.
I've ever heard that before.
Never heard that
That's
one,
a new
man.
one.
That is
I
a
like
pretty
it.
good one, man. Shout out.
The Craptors.
Shout out. Nice. Well done.
Is
Well
there a
done.
Bulls equivalent of Craptors, like, a nickname to say that a team is bad?
I mean, there's the obvious one that Bulls is the first half of Bull doo-doo.
ZCHIT?
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
But they aren't bad enough for a nickname like that.
Like how she said, like she couldn't say the word. That was awesome.
Well, I don't know what we can and can't say
I
on
got you.
Fast Channel, so.
Fair point. Shit.
Even with how tough the next 5 games are, the Bulls still 28th in strength of schedule left. I do want to I think we're going to talk some scheduling stuff on tomorrow's pod, so hang tight there. Because, yes, they do have, I think 4 games coming up against, 2 Celtics, 2 Bucks. But then after that, end of December, into January, Bulls schedule is tough.
SOF capital T. Soft.
Shout out Kobe. Okay, guys. But the next thing we want to talk about today was the NBA announcing this new format. Before we get into actually how the games are going to be played, let's talk about the voting rules, which have also, I think, changed a bit.
Okay.
Because you still have those boosted days where 1 vote counts for 3. You see them there, December 21 and 25, and then 4 dates in January where your vote counts for thrice. But whereas I believe in the past on social media platforms, primarily Twitter and Instagram, you could vote for a player with hashtag their name or just spelling their name and hashtag NBA All-Star. Now that appears is no longer the case. You have to vote on the NBA app or on NBA.com with your NBA fan ID.
Huh.
Which
Already have one.
I am curious if that is going to put a significant dent in the normal amount of NBA voting.
Maybe. I mean,
Might
I
get
have
some
an
illegal
NBA
voters
ID,
in there.
So yeah, they'll definitely, without a doubt, they'll find a way. They will find a way to get in who they want to get in. Sure, they're trying to shore it up and, make it simpler, but just make it, I guess, get that the fake fan votes out of there is kind of what they're trying to do. Or if you're going to give them the fake fan votes, then sign up for this account right here
Right.
on NBA.com. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that works going forward. And then giving specific dates, I think, very much helps.
Yeah.
Also, because it puts some urgency on it, to get them out there to vote. So I think I'm not mad at that idea. I'm not mad at it. I don't think it's a terrible one.
I'm
Keep
fine
going,
with it too. I'm fine with it too. It'll be interesting to see how much a player like Vooch and or Zach get as far as the fan vote is concerned.
True.
And they usually show initial returns after All-Star voting has been open for a couple of weeks, and then another one before the official announcements of the starting 5.
Right.
And then of course the coaches select the reserves after that. But as far as the competition itself also changes on deck. Katie, if you will, this was from NBA PR also earlier today. There are now going to be 4 teams in an NBA All-Star tournament. 3 teams, 8 players divided up amongst the 24 NBA All-Star selections. And then the 4th team in this tournament will be whichever team wins the Rising Stars game earlier in All-Star weekend. Honorary GMs for these All-Star teams, the TNT crew of Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny will be the GMs of the 3 NBA All-Star teams. Candace Parker will be leading the Rising Stars champion team. Then you get your rosters selected draft-wise from Barkley, O'Neal, and Smith from the pool of those 24 All-Stars. 2 teams meeting in the semifinals. The winner of those games going to a championship game. Both the semifinals and championship game winner is decided by first team to 40 points. Here's the new format. Another example of NBA trying to do something new and interesting, be it the play-in tournament, the midseason cup. Now this on top of recent changes to the All-Star format. What do we think?
I think that the All-Star game the last several years has just been so bad that they are grasping at straws to try to find any new solution that could reinvigorate the game from both the players' perspective and for the fans, because it just hasn't been enjoyable to watch. I mean, I was at the game in Salt Lake a couple years ago when DeMar played, and it was just, I mean, I didn't even watch like the entire second half. I was just walking around the arena because it was like just not competitive at all. It was a layup line contest. And, you know, it got a little bit close during the fourth quarter late. And the Elam
was the Elam ending in place
the
at that
Elam
point?
ending helps a little bit, but like I think the first year that they did that, they really caught lightning in a bottle, and it like worked perfectly because the game was close, and it just wasn't close in the game that I was at. So it just wasn't that interesting. And I think that there's like a lot of problems with just having an All-Star game in general. It's like not really built to be a competitive thing, because like it doesn't benefit players to try hard in this. They could get hurt and then be out for the playoffs. It doesn't benefit.
About it here on the
Put a pin in that.
It doesn't benefit like these guys who have to go through the media circuit and like sign a bunch of stuff and go do a bunch of interviews. Like it's not really their typical routine. I think most players would prefer to take a week off and recuperate and go to Turks and Caicos or wherever, and then go to, you know, Salt Lake City in the wintertime to play a basketball game that doesn't matter. So I think they need to keep trying stuff. I'm not sure that this is going to solve it, because, you know, having a small tournament, playing up to a certain score instead of a timed game, I think that's interesting. I don't know. We'll see if it solves it. The problem, I don't know how the like G League team factors into that too. I think that's kind of a weird thing, but I'm open to them exploring new ways to trying to make this more competitive. But at the same time, like I also wonder if it's just not going to be competitive, and like we just kind of have to be okay with that. And like kind of the baseball All-Star game, it's like that game's not very good, but like the home run derby's fun, and that's the 3-point contest now, and the dunk contest has kind of lost its luster too. So I think they're just kind of scrambling for any way to make this more exciting. But at the end of the day, the way that the NBA works is like the thing that matters is the playoffs and the championship. Yeah. And if there's things that are getting in the way of that, it doesn't incentivize players. And that's why doing the NBA Cup thing as part of the regular season, keeping those games as regular season games, is good, because it's still the same product, right? Like you're not sacrificing regular season games to go participate in this. And so kind of a long rant about this whole thing, but I just think it's hard to generate excitement for something that technically like doesn't matter, in the sense that it doesn't apply towards the playoffs or the championship. And the best players in the world are supposed to be participating in this. They're also the ones that are going to be in the playoffs. And so their priority is the playoffs. It's always going to be hard to get them to play, you know, 100% in a game like this.
Yeah. I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I'm open to it. I'll say that for sure. So let me see it first, and then it will either confirm my hatred of it, or it will say, oh, you know what? I kind of like this, you know, kind of like the midseason tournament, same thing. When I first heard about it, I was like, I don't like this. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, no, I kind of like this. Like, no, I'm with this. I like it. This, because of everything you just said, especially the end, Will, for me, it's an all-star game. I don't expect true, straight-up competition in an all-star game. When it does happen, it's few and far between, and that's why it stands out. And I think about when Stephon Marbury and Allen Iverson led that comeback in the All-Star game. And I think about the first year where they had the new format where, you know, they did it by quarter, and then it was a point total you had to play up to. That was kind of competitive. What was the one that where I can't remember. I think it was LeBron who hit the game winner on Zach LaVine to win that. That was very competitive, and I enjoyed that game, and that was cool. But dude, it's not like hurting my heart and soul. Like, you know, we're out there like, oh man, these guys got to get out there and compete on the floor and go at it, and blood, sweat, and tears. I don't want to see none of that. I just want to see the stars, like, and just play basketball. Like, that's it. I think people got fed up because of the defense not being there. Obviously, there is no defense, and that's definitely dwindled. That could just be the sign of the times more than anything. But, man, dude, like, in the end, it's an all-star game. I don't know how much competition I want truly out of an all-star game for something that won't matter to you in a few months after it's over. It's not something I'm going to go back to and just be like, oh, man, that all-star game, y'all remember that? No, I'm going to be going back to game 5. I'm going to be going back to game 7. Like, those are the games I'm going to be remembering. I just want it to be fun. I want to see amazing things like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard when they had their battle shooting the ball from half court during the game and hitting them. That was fun to watch. That's cool. But in the end, it's stars, man. And I'm not out here like they got to be hitting each other with elbows and they got to be super competitive and, you know, guys got to lose an eye to show some type of fire or something like that. Like, no, it's an all-star game. Let them go be stars and do it like that. But we'll see what this format does. They're trying new things, like you said. They're trying new stuff. We'll see what it looks like after they finish.
Before I offer my take, shout out to our guy Gerald, who does a great job on the beat out there in the desert, covering the Suns for PHNX. He was quick at work this morning, and he was able to get Kevin Durant's reaction to this new format at their practice or shoot-around or whatever they were doing at Suns. And Katie, if you will, want to play this clip of KD giving his opinion of the new format as it's being explained to him.
The new All-Star game format?
Is it like 4 different teams?
Yeah, 4 teams, 6 players each. I think they're drafted by like Kenny and Shaq and Chuck, and then it's like a tournament style first to 40 points.
I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I agree. It's terrible. All-Star game, formats changing, all the formats terrible in my opinion. And we should just go back to East-West and just play a game. I think we've been trying to, you know, bring that flair back somehow with the All-Star weekend, but I think we just keep it traditional. But we'll see how this one works. You never know. I might be wrong. I'm just another guy with an opinion, but we'll see how it works.
Y'all ready for Old Man Yells at Cloud? Are you ready for it? You ready for Old Man Yells at Cloud? Shut up, KD. Shut up. Oh, just go back to East versus West. I hate this. Why do they keep messing with this? They're trying to bring some of the flair back. You know why the league keeps trying to adjust All-Star Weekend and its rules? Because they're trying to bring some level of competitiveness back to something that used to be great and fun and competitive. Not overly competitive. But I mean, I do recall, what was it, Kobe breaking Dwayne Wade's nose in an All-Star game? I believe that happened not too long ago.
That's fun.
Yeah. I get the whole, well, it's an exhibition game, so injuries, we don't want to push ourselves. I remember a time when NBA All-Stars didn't care about that. I know, I remember Game 5s and Game 7s. I don't necessarily remember this player's performance from this All-Star game. I remember players' All-Star performances from when I was a kid and players took the game seriously. KD, if you're sick of the league messing with the rules of All-Star Weekend and wanted to just go back to East versus West, then maybe huddle up with your fellow All-Stars and talk to each other about playing the game like you give a shit. That's why the league keeps messing with it, because none of y'all care or try at all in this game. And that's why the product is garbage. And they keep trying to fix it. I am so sick of how soft this league is, man. I know I have very little leg to stand on when it comes to that because I am not out there risking my own body. I get that. But they are paid very handsomely to go out there and sacrifice their bodies to play this game and entertain the masses. We are in the softest timeline of NBA basketball from a physicality standpoint. Load management, injury management. And why is it that half the league star players are still injured? Where's the correlation? Don't tell me about, well, we're just going to stand around on defense in All-Star Weekend because, you know, it's about the playoffs. When half the league is hurt anyway and they're all sitting every other game. Enough of this crap. Go play the game like you want to win it. God damn.
Over an All-Star game.
I remember when players cared about winning All-Star games. I remember when players cared. What happened to that? What happened to players caring?
Oh, man.
Well, I think, like, it's hard to incentivize caring for these guys too, because like Jaylen Brown just signed like a $600 million contract. Winning $500,000 for winning the All-Star game doesn't matter to him. That's like winning $5.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't do anything for these guys.
So who cares about the incentivizing financially part? I am saying there was a point in time in my life when each team, East, West, said, we want to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think that this effort that the league is making, and honestly, I don't hate this new format. I am at least willing to see if it works as their latest attempt to make the players give a shit about what happens. We don't want to lose to the rising stars players. Maybe we will actually play a little bit of defense and try and stop them from getting 40 points before we get our 40. That's what the league is doing. They're trying to come up with some way to make these all-star players making truckloads of money give a shit about this exhibition game.
But that's
and
the point.
Used to just be,
an
we
exhibition
want
game.
to win.
It's an exhibition game, though. And if it, like, at the same point, like, I think we all buy into rings culture. Rings matter. Playoffs matter, right? Like, we're evaluating this Bulls team, and the frame of reference, the standard is 6 championships. If that's the standard, then what is the incentive for Kevin Durant, who's, 36, 37 years old, to go out there and try and potentially get hurt when he's an injury-prone player, when he's trying to get his third championship?
A 35, 36-year-old Michael Jordan still managed to win All-Star Game MVP on his way to winning his 6th ring. Come on. What are we talking about here?
I get it, but, like, I just think this is the reality of the situation. We can complain about they should do this, but, like, I think what they're trying to look at is how can we re-incentivize this? And like I said, $500,000 for winning the NBA Cup, $500,000 for winning the All-Star game, like that doesn't matter to these guys.
I hear you. I grant the financial incentivizing of, hey, here's $500,000, here's $250K for players at All-Star game are probably all max contract level players or close to it, other than the ones still on their rookie deals and already making All-Star selections. But for the most part, I'm saying it's not that the financial incentivizing isn't working because all these guys are making millions upon millions on max contracts anyway. I'm saying they used to care about winning the game regardless of a financial prize.
But it's kind of like if you don't try, you can't fail. Like if they invest effort and energy into this and get hurt or lose a game, like there's downside to that. But if you guys are just like, jogging around here, then there's no downside other than that the product stinks, but that doesn't matter to them because they're still getting incentivized by it. So I understand, but I think that it's hard to live in a world where we hold guys to a high standard in terms of playoff success and championships and rings, while also saying you also have to care about exhibition games that don't matter. And I think that it's hard to have it both ways with this when this is the reality of the league. Like, again, I'm not agreeing that this is like good for the league, that load management is a good thing, but you have guys like Joel Embiid, who I'm sure would love to be out there, but he's got, multiple knee surgeries and no more meniscus. And every time he plays, his knee swells up. Like, he's not going to go out there and do that. They tried doing the minimum games threshold for making all-star games. Like, I think these guys do want to be out there for when it matters, but this is just not what matters to them. And that, I think, is the problem. But every solution that they've attempted to implement in terms of finding ways to make it matter to them, that has failed. And what I'm saying is I'm just not sure what that is, or if there is anything that could make them care about this game, because it doesn't matter. Now, if you said this is going to be like a new thing that people care about, how many times not only that you were an all-star, but that you won an all-star game, that's going to, impact your legacy. And that's going to impact how people talk about you long-term. Maybe that's a thing, but like
it adds to it.
But we've just also said that the NBA Cup game is dumb because nobody's going to factor that in. So at the end of the day, like the thing that matters is championships. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I am saying that's how it is. And so anything else, it's like, I just find it hard to understand how these guys are going to care about that. Not saying that that's right or wrong, but like I think we're kind of making parallel arguments, but that's just kind of how I view the reasoning behind the issue.
I think Will just hit exactly the point, like exactly the problem that the NBA is having with this. is because when we talk about a player's legacy, we do mention how many times they were an all-star. You know, we'll say like Michael Jordan, 20 bajillion time all-star, but we don't ever say Michael Jordan won, you know, X amount of NBA all-star games. Like, that's just not something that we as fans factor into a player's legacy. So, I mean, the selection is one thing, and Julie hit on it. Like, it's an honor to be selected. But nobody talks about whether or not they won that actual game.
They've already done it. And even if you don't play, you've been selected an all-star.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter.
And you're seeing so many players pull out now because they're like, oh, you know, my measles are, I'm just going to sit down. You know what I mean? Like, they have to find a way to make that part of the legacy. And if they can't do that, then these players just aren't going to give a crap. That's it.
You have anything else to add?
I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
I just like, okay, I get the whole like legacy point. That's fair. Nobody talks about like how many All-Star Game W's do you have compared to All-Star Game L's when you're talking about the greatest of the greats. However, like, what happened to the competitiveness of professional athletes who say, I want to make the All-Star team and prove that I'm one of the best players in this league? That's ego, that's pride, that's determination to be the best. It's what got them as far as being in the NBA to begin with. We were having a conversation this offseason about how Patrick Williams had said yet again recently, I want to prove that I'm an all-star in this league. Parentheses, that we can laugh at that later. But what happened to that part of what it means to be an NBA player or professional athlete? Because an NBA all-star game could and should theoretically be a game, yes, that's an exhibition, but also a game in which we get to prove who wins a game between the best and the other side of the best. Why doesn't that matter anymore to these guys?
I think part of it too is that like the West has just been so much better than the East. Like, it's just not competitive. Like, the West is just way better. I don't know. Maybe that factors in. Maybe there's like a solution where every team gets one representative and there's 30 players in the All-Star game and like the fans of that team get to vote in their guy. Maybe there would be some more pride on the line with representing your team.
Well, and I think
guys are bouncing around teams. They don't have any like real allegiance. Like, Katie's a missionary. He's been on 6 different teams.
Right.
Like, there's no incentive for 37-year-old Kevin Durant to come out there and try to kick everybody's ass because it doesn't matter.
It's like, instead of battling each other, Charles Barkley and David Robinson get to play together on the Western Conference All-Star team instead of battling, you know, Larry and Michael or Isaiah and Michael playing together on an Eastern Conference All-Star team. Dominique, Charles with the Sixers before going to Houston or Phoenix. Like, Magic, it's the same thing they talked about with those dream team scrimmages on their way to Barcelona. The best of the best playing against each other with bragging rights at stake. Apparently somewhere in the last couple of decades, bragging rights among professional athletes, especially those of the upper echelon of the league, has dwindled down to meaning nothing whatsoever. And as a fan who loves to see players compete like they give a shit, that bothers me.
And you know what? I think, Will, you just brought up an interesting point that plays into this is there are no more teams. And so guys playing with guys, like you're saying, is happening now during the season, more so than we used to see it back in our day. So you get to see those super teams now. You get to see those guys playing together you always dreamed about seeing during a whole entire 82 games. So the All-Star game used to be where you could see those powers combine because we're not used to seeing those powers combine between those guys like that. Now, you know, the game has changed. You know, like everybody can play with everybody. Everybody has no problem hanging out with everybody, going on everybody's team and playing with them. So we know your styles. We know how y'all look together. We know how it's going to be. That has definitely impacted this and changed that as well. I think also monetarily, it's affected it as well. Guys making their paper, and shout out to you for that. Guys making their money, that has kind of changed it as well. I feel you on this, Matt. I do. I feel you. The competition and all that, I don't think there's any disagreement with that it's lesser. It's not lesser, it's zero. I just always looked at it like, I'm going to tune into this game every single year. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. I'm going to watch the NBA All-Star game. I don't know what I want to walk away with, and I think you know what you want to walk away with is more competition. I just wanted everybody to be healthy and see something really cool. As long as I could kind of see that, I'm completely satisfied. in what I'm
And
viewing right there.
that's why like the 3-point shootout has become the best event because it's Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum,
Is
Steph Curry,
individual
Klay
stars
Thompson.
competing against one another.
Individual stars at the best at what they do, competing against the other players who want to say they're better at that skill. And like, I don't think anybody has Team Eastern Conference pride. It's like my shooting is better than your shooting. So that's why it's like every dunk that you can imagine has already taken place. There's not any like new dunks that we can come up with.
How dare you?
Like the dunk contest is kind of lame now. I mean, it just is. Like it's not exciting. But who can make the most threes when the game is about threes, when everything that matters in the NBA is about shooting threes and making threes, to go up there and say, I have a chance to be better than Steph Curry at that tonight. Like that's what I think drives pride, and that's why that event is better. And now you introduce the Sabrina versus Steph thing. That's another element of pride. You think Sabrina's going to like lollygag around in a 3-point contest against Steph Curry on national TV? No chance. So I think that kind of creativity makes it better. Maybe they should just lean more into that and less into all-star games and just say like, yeah, you made the all-star weekend selection. That counts towards your legacy, whatever. But I just think that like KD's been an all-star 14 times. LeBron's been an all-star 20 times. Like this is not new and exciting for them. This is a chore. And if you want to make it exciting, you got to send Ayo Dosunmu or Alex Caruso because those guys are going to try hard. But that's not what the all-star game is about. That's a bunch of guys that are just competitive. It's not the stars of the stars.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe there's an age cutoff. Maybe there's if I have been an all-star X amount of times or I am X years old, fine. If you don't want to go to All-Star Weekend because it's a chore and not an honor for you, then don't go, and it doesn't count on your basketball reference page of how many times you've been an all-star. If you decline to go, you're not an all-star. It doesn't count.
Because
if you would like to go and play in the all-star game, then you got a little check mark on number of all-star appearances.
Go ahead, Kate.
I mean, maybe it should be like Grammy nominees. I'm not kidding. Like when you make a great album, you think you're doing good work, you submit it for Grammy nomination. You know, like let these players nominate themselves saying like, yes, I want to go and play hard this year. That way you don't get, you know, the LeBron Jameses of the world who have done it a million times and don't really care anymore.
Jimmy Butler.
Or maybe
nominate
it's like,
yourself.
Maybe it's like you get a pool of players that have to compete to be named all-stars. So the Eastern Conference players, the nominees, as Katie was saying, which I think is a really interesting idea, there's 20 nominees for the Eastern Conference. They get separated into teams, and the players who perform best in that game get to be all-stars. Because at the end of the day, like I just think that the accomplishment is making the team. It's not participating in the game. So like Zach LaVine, I'm sure would love to be an all-star this year, right? Prove everybody wrong. Everybody that was saying he wasn't good. Same with Vooch, that they lost it, they're washed, whatever. They're playing like all-stars this year. I think both of them could make the team, but I'm sure once they get out there, it's not going to be the same urgency as the race to get in because that's the accomplishment.
I see what you're saying. It's about getting there and not playing in the game.
Yeah.
I think if a player wants to come out and say, and maybe some of them have in more flowery language, going to All-Star Weekend's a chore. I'd rather go to the Caribbean for a week. I hear that. It's also very tone deaf to how they are all-stars / how they are people making millions, and in most cases with all-stars, tens of millions of dollars in their profession because fans voted them there. NBA All-Star Weekend has always been, and is kind of sagging recently, but has always been a huge entertainment spectacle for fans who love the NBA and want to see the best players doing things that they are the best at. It is an insult to fans for a player to say, thanks for yet another all-star selection. As far as the game goes, I don't want to, I got kind of an achy, calf / just some reserve go for me. I'm still going to take the all-star accolade in my career resume. Somebody else go play. Or if I am, if I don't have a good enough excuse to not go play, I'm going to sit there and not try. I'm sorry. That is an insult to NBA fans who voted you to All-Star Weekend and are a big part of the reason, because we tune in, because we buy the merch, that, you play for a league that has all of these rights deals and all that you are allowed to make the money you make. It is an insult to the fans who make the league and its players their fortune to treat All-Star Weekend like that.
That's it? We good?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah, let's work. Okay.
I enjoyed that. Very much so.
We shall see what happens All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for this new format to work, and by work I mean
I want to see it.
some life.
I mean, I don't like it, like I said. But I want to see it. I want to see it. Show it to me. Let's see what
Keep
it looks
trying
like.
something, because what has been going on.
I think to your point of
trash.
competition, having the young guys out there might do something because they'll be playing more recklessly than the older guys will be playing that are already pretty established. So they're trying to make a name for themselves.
Sure.
And I think that's part of it too, is like social media highlights. Every team's on TV every night. There's not like any like pride or desire to prove yourself on a national stage anymore because everybody's on a national stage every night. So I think that's part of it too. It's just tough. And like, I don't disagree with you, Matt. I just think that like, these are the questions, what I'm describing are like the questions that they have to face of how do you solve it?
Yeah.
I just don't know if you can.
I did run a poll in the chat here.
Katie poll!
Katie poll. Do you like the new NBA All-Star format? It started out heavily yes, and then as you guys continued to talk, it has now swung completely the opposite direction.
Oh, yeah?
71% say no.
Wow.
So you guys changed some hearts and minds out there today. Congrats.
Then come hang out with us in the sweet January 4th to see Bulls Knicks, baby. D Rose night is going down. Swag bags with the hoodie is going to be on deck. Free food. You're going to get your drink with it. You get the dessert cart. You get Will Perdue. You get Katie. You get the crew. All of that. We get to talk, have fun, laugh, and enjoy that night. Come hang out with us, y'all. Come chill in the suite with us.
Come on down.
January 4th. We'll be there.
Die Hard to get a big old discount.
Big old discount for the Die Hard.
Act fast.
Big
Space is
old.
limited.
Mm-hmm.
We are out of time for today. We will be back tomorrow with another live pod for y'all, 5:30 Central Time. We are going to be joined by Mark Stein, talking trades. We're also going to talk about a new stat that GOAT invented.
Oh, GOAT inventing stats?
It's really.
I wouldn't say it's.
How great does he have to be?
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
We'll talk about it. It's not great news.
As Matt says, put a pin in it.
Let's put a pin in that.
Put a pin in that.
That'll be tomorrow, 5:30 Central Time. In the meantime, make sure you hit the like on your way out if you haven't done it yet. Do it for Katie. Do it for Troll Joe. Do it for yourself. Hitting the like button on things is fun.
Do it for yourself.
And enjoy NBA Cup tonight. Again, reminder, I'll be hanging out in that Die Hard Discord Bulls channel later tonight. Look forward to seeing some of y'all there. And follow the GOAT, Will _Gottlieb, Big Dave's Bow, BWL Sports on Bulls _Peck. We are CHGO Bulls. Shout out and thanks, of course, as always, to Queen of the Controls, one and only Katie Duffy. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Have a great night. See you. Be good.
God bless. Peace and love, y'all.
Soft ass players.
We all silly like the mayor.